Students, today we shall continue the state government class 7 chapter number 3. Students, in the last class we have studied about the legislative assembly or the so called as Vidhan Sabha. Today we shall discuss about the legislative council or Vidhan Parishad, the upper house of the parliament. Students, now we will discuss about legislative council or Vidhan Parishad, the upper house of the parliament. The legislative council does not exist in most of the states. Right now, it is operating in 7 states in India, that is in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and Jammu and Kashmir. These states have bicameral legislature, whereas other states have unicameral legislature. The legislative assembly of the state can be created or abolished by the legislative council by the process of voting. The total number of members of the legislative council, the so called as MLCs, cannot be less than 40 or more than one third of the MLAs in the respective states. Students, now we shall see the composition of Legislative Council or Vidhan Parishad. One third of the members of the Legislative Council are elected by the MLAs of the state. Another one third are elected by the local government bodies, the so called as municipalities. One-sixth of the members are nominated by the governor from among distinguished artists, authors, social workers, etc. Next, 1/12 of the members are elected by the teachers, and the rest of the 1/12 of the members are elected by the graduates of the states. This is about the composition of legislative council. Students, now we shall see about the eligibility of 4 members. To be the member of legislative council, a person must be a citizen of India and should not be less than 30 years of age. Now we shall see about the term. The Legislative Council is a permanent body, and one third of its members shall retire after every 2 years. And the term of Legislative Council or the Vidhan Parishad is for 6 years. Now we shall see about the presiding officer. The Legislative Council elects a chairman and a deputy chairman from among themselves. They preside over the meeting of the house. We have 2 persons who preside over the meeting of the house. One is the chairman and one is the deputy chairman. Now we shall see who is the chairman from Karnataka. The chairman of Karnataka is K. Pratap Chandra Shetty. Since 12th December 2018, he is the chairman of Vidhan Parishad, and the deputy chairman is S.L. Dharmegowda since 19th December 2018. These are the 2 persons, the chairman and the deputy chairman, who is presiding over the meeting of the house. Here is about the state executive. The state executive consists of the governor and the chief minister and the Council of Ministers of the state. This is the composition of the state executive. You can see here one side it is the governor, who is the official head of the state, and the other side the chief minister is the real head of the state, and his council of ministers. Students, now we shall discuss about the governor. There shall be a governor for each state. However, the same person can be appointed as a governor for 2 or more states. The governor is the constitutional head of the state executive. All the executive powers of the state are exercised in the name of the governor, but the real functionary is the chief minister along with the council of ministers. The governor of the state shall be appointed by the president, and he holds the office generally for a period of 5 years. Students, now we shall see about the qualifications to become the governor. To be the governor of a state, a person should have the following qualifications. He or she must have completed the age of 35 years of age. He or she must be a citizen of India. He or she must not hold any office of profit. He or she must not be a member of either house of the parliament or of a house of the legislature of any state. These are the qualifications to become the governor. Students, now we shall see the powers and functions of the governor. The following powers are exercised in the name of the governor. First point, he or she appoints the leader of the majority party in the state legislative assembly as the chief minister. Second point, he or she appoints the other ministers of the state council on advice of the chief minister. Third point, he or she makes all appointments to the high officers, including the chairman and members of the State Public Service Commission and the Advocate General. Fourth point, the governor recommends the state annual budget before it is presented in the state legislative assembly. Fifth point, as a discretionary power, when no single party gets a clear majority in the assembly, the governor can use his discretion in appointing the chief minister. Here they have used a word discretionary power. Discretionary power means discretionary power are exercised by the administrative and legal authorities. Means in simple language, discretionary power does not impose any obligation on a decision maker to exercise them in a particular manner. This is the meaning of discretionary power. Next is the governor has the power to summon and dissolve the legislative assembly on the recommendation of the chief minister. These are the powers and functions of the governor. Students, now we shall see about the chief minister and the council of ministers. We have already studied about the elections for MLAs. A political party whose MLAs have won more than half the members of the assembly constituencies in a state can be said to be in a majority. After the elections, the MLAs belonging to the majority party elects the leader who becomes the chief minister on the governor's invitation. Next point. If no party wins a clear majority, a coalition government is formed. In such a case, the leader of the largest coalition party is invited by the governor to form the state government. Next, the governor appoints the leader as the chief minister. Next point. The governor appoints the members of the Council of Ministers on the recommendation of the chief minister. Last point. The political party that forms the government is called as the ruling party, and all the other members of the legislative assembly who do not become party of the ruling party are called as the opposition party. This is about the chief minister and the council of ministers. Now we shall see about the term. The term of office of the chief minister and the council of ministers is for a period of 5 years. Now we shall again discuss about the powers and functions of the chief minister. The chief minister is the real head of the state. He or she supervises the work of the entire council of ministers. He or she distributes the portfolios to the ministers of the state council of ministers. Here portfolios means a minister with a portfolio means he is headed by a particular ministry or a particular responsibility is called as a portfolio. He or she presides over the meetings of the cabinet and the council of ministers and communicates all decisions made to the governor. Next, he or she is responsible for the success or the failure of the government. If a resignation given by the chief minister, it is treated as the resignation of the entire council of ministers. These are the powers and functions of the chief minister. Students, now we shall see about the council of ministers. There are 3 categories in the council of ministers. First one is the cabinet minister, second is the minister of the state, and third is the deputy minister. The council of ministers is a collectively responsibility for the state legislative assembly. If a vote of no confidence is passed by the assembly against any minister, the entire ministry has to resign. This is about the council of ministers. Powers and functions of council of ministers. The council of ministers is the real executive of the state. Each department in the state government is headed by a cabinet minister or ministers of the state. It is his or her responsibility to run the administration of the department smoothly. It formulates and decides the policies of the state and implements them effectively. It is the responsibility of the council of ministers to maintain law and order and ensure security of life and property of the people in the state. All major appointments of the state are made by the governor on the advice of the council of ministers. Majority of the bills are introduced in the legislature by the Council of Ministers. It prepares the budget and decides the financial policy and tax structure of the state. These are the powers and functions of Council of Ministers. Though there is a division of powers between the central and the state government, yet the central government has larger number of powers and resources. The state looks towards the center for the financial assistance. Now we shall see about the union territories. India has 9 union territories at present. They are governed by the President of India through a Lieutenant Governor, Chief Commissioner, Chief Administrator. Here they have used the word Lieutenant Governor. What do you mean by this? Lieutenant Governor means he is the acting or a deputy governor of a state or a province, or we can say that he is a higher officer of a state. He is called as Lieutenant Governor. Now we shall see the 9 union territories at present. First one is the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Second one is Chandigarh. Third one is Dadar and Nagar Haveli. Fourth one Daman and Diu. Fifth one National Capital Territory of Delhi. Sixth one Jammu and Kashmir. Seventh Lakshadweep. Eighth is Ladakh. And ninth is Puducherry. These are the total 9 union territories at present, and the union territories like Puducherry and Delhi have a legislative assembly and a council of ministers. Okay students, this is the end of the lesson. I hope that you might have understood about the Legislative Council or the Vidhan Parishad so far. Thank you.